Discussion Board 1 by Shalika Philippe. The co-teaching models that we'll be talking in these discussions are one teach, one support, parallel teaching, station teaching, and team teaching. Team teaching. Team teaching can be defined as a group of two or more teachers working together to plan and conduct and evaluate learning activities for the same group of learners. There are several benefits of teachers can gain from using team teaching methods in the classroom. Number one, both teachers work as a one unit and by doing so both able to have an active instructional role. For example, both teachers have distinct roles in a literacy lesson. One reads the story while the other provides the prompting questions, and they may change roles during the lesson. 2. Students will be benefit from multiple strategies that two teachers bring to deliver a lesson. For example, teaching students different strategies to solve a problem might help them to see new, more efficient strategies that might resonate with them. Continue. Number 3. Team teaching can help a student to accept that there are more than one opinion and to act more cooperatively with others. For example, cooperation that students see between two teachers will allow the students to be more cooperative towards being a team player and work harmoniously in a team setting. Number 4. The team teaching cuts teaching burdens and boosts morale. This allows to have a better classroom management too. For example, team teaching allows new teachers a supportive environment, allows for development of new teaching approaches, aids in overcoming academic isolation. Challenges that can be arise due to team teaching. Number 1. Pre-planning takes a considerable amount of time. For example, co-teachers must arrange mutual agreeable times for planning and evaluation. Discussion can be draining and group decisions take longer. Number 2. Trust and cooperation can be difficult component in co-teaching. For example, some teachers are rigid personality types or may be committed to a one method. Parallel teaching. In this approach, each teacher instructs half the students. The two teachers are addressing the same instructional material. Some advantages of this approach are: Number 1, parallel teaching splits the responsibility between both teachers. Example, during planning, teachers can divide and conquer the planning. By doing so, reduces the teacher burnout. Number 2, teachers can have more control over combating social behavior problems. For example, this model can help to maintain a balanced classroom management. Having two teachers allowed to have more time to manage the classroom problems. Continue. Number 3, both teachers have an active instructional role. For example, both teachers take half of the class to deliver the same exact lesson. In this scenario, same learning goals, strategies, material, assessment would be used. Challenges that can be arise due to parallel teaching. Number 1, the pace of the lesson must be identical so they finish at the same time. For example, some students may need more time and others may go in a fast pace, so finishing the lesson on time sometimes can be difficult. Number 2, the noise level that creates in the classroom can be a distraction. For example, having two groups learning simultaneously can create noise that will disturb learning. One teach, one support. In this model, one teacher has primary instructional responsibility while the other assists students with their work, monitors behavior, or correct assignments, often leading a voice to students or group who would hesitate to participate. Some advantages of this approach are: Number 1, students receive individual help in a timely manner. For example, as one teacher is purely there to assist means students who need attention will get the help while the lesson is conducted. Number 2, allows the instructor to deliver the lesson without disruption. For example, the teacher who delivers the lesson will be able to deliver the lesson without an interruption because there is another teacher to manage the classroom management. Challenges that can arise due to one teacher, one support teaching model. Number 1, it can be seen as one main teacher and one helper. For example, this model, the teacher leading the lesson has more control in the classroom than the teacher assisting. This can generate an unwanted inequality of power in the classroom, both in the eye of the student and the teachers. Number 2, does not make a full use of two instructional teachers. For example, this model wastes utilization of both teachers' capabilities of teaching. Station teaching. In this model, co-teachers divide their class into small groups to provide instruction at separate stations. Some advantages of station teaching are: number 1, both teachers have an active instructional role. For example, co-teachers divide their classroom into small groups to provide instructions at separate stations. This allows them both to have an active role in teaching. Number 2, both teachers will be considered lead teachers. There is no lead or assistant. For example, all students go to both teachers in order to reinforce the teacher's equality in the classroom. Therefore, no student thinks one of the teacher is more important or central to his or her learning than the other. Continue. Number 3. The students have the benefit of working in small groups, and each student is exposed to similar material, but groups can be differentiated by level. For example, each group can receive instruction on their own level without the other group noticing the differentiated instructional level. Number 4. Each teacher has a clear teaching responsibility. For example, having stations allow the teacher to have a clear responsibility and understanding of what he or she is supposed to teach and what strategies they are going to use. Challenges that can arise due to station teaching. Number 1, to work effectively, this approach requires a lot of pre-planning. For example, co-teachers must arrange mutual agreeable times for planning, evaluation, discussion can be draining, and group decisions take longer. Number 2, the noise level that creates in the classroom can be a distraction. For example, having two groups learning simultaneously can create noise that will disturb the learning. Citation for co-teaching models. Service delivery models. Push-in services. When a teacher or related service provider comes into the general education classroom setting to provide educational support and or related services for a student with disabilities. Some benefits of push-in service model. Number 1, less time lost in during transition. For example, students are able to transit from classroom activities quickly because the provider, for example, another teacher, speech therapist, already in the classroom. Number 2, the providers are able to interact with the classroom teacher more. For example, providers are able to witness the teacher's instructional style firsthand. Challenges of push-in service model. Number 1, more distraction for the student who is getting the service and the rest of the class. For example, this will depend greatly on the class size. When an outsider, the provider or the specialist enters the class, attention can be taken away from the class instruction, plus the student who gets the service might feel singled out. Number 2, less time and opportunities for students to receive the outside service. For example, most of the push-in services are limited and have limited time. Mainly these services time up to 30 minutes, so students might get fewer services and less time to use the provided services. Pull-out services. In pull-out services, group of students or a student is taken out of the regular classroom to work with a specialist. What are some benefits of pull-out service model? Number 1, specialists and students have control of their environment where they can provide and receive the instruction without an interruption. For example, services are provided in a space with a fewer distraction in the room. Many of the students receiving interaction and intervention services struggle with attention. Therefore, a quiet environment separated from the busy classroom helps the student to focus. Number 2, students receive more individual attention and able to make positive connections and build trust. For example, students can have more social interaction with the service providers and form positive connections and trust without feeling overwhelmed or shy. Challenges of pull-out service model. Number 1, less time with the classroom teacher and less connection formed between the teacher and the specialist. For example, the service specialist must find time outside the service time to communicate with the classroom teacher. This is often difficult as they both have a busy schedule and overwork load. At the same time, a classroom teacher might not have enough time with the student as to build connections because they are pulled out of the classroom. Number two, some student might feel embarrassed leaving the classroom. For example, student might feel singled out or put on a spotlight as they have to leave the classroom to receive the services. These are my citation for the service delivery models. Thank you.